The hue and saturation effect allows you to do a wide variety of alterations to the image. So let's start by adding the hue and saturation tween track to this image of a butterfly that is represented by this cue here and that appears up in the stage window. So we take hue and saturation on the tween menu, which adds the various tween tracks to the cue. First of all, let's just make a couple of minor color adjustments by just dragging the hue parameter. And as you see, if you watch up in the stage window when we do this, we can take the image from its original balanced look to a more greenish look, yellowish greenish, or towards more of the red in the butterfly. You can also adjust this numerically or by dragging this rotary dial here in the dialog box. And you can see that it shifts more towards green, yellow and green, and towards red and blue on this side of the dial. What this dial means is that the color that originally is up here, which is the red color, gets remapped. So if you set it to something like this, anything that was red in the image will now become green. So it essentially rotates the one color wheel within another color wheel, where the colors in one of the wheels get mapped to the other color wheel. You can think of it that way, but usually the easiest way is you just drag this around until you get a look that gives you the kind of look that you are looking for. The next parameter allows you to adjust the saturation of the color. Let's get rid of this change of the hue by removing this tween point, and then we'll start playing with the saturation instead. And as I change the saturation down here in the tween pane, if you watch up here in the stage window, you'll see what's happening. So if you move this up, you can see that the saturation increases, and if you do move it below 100%, it is reduced all the way down to a black and white image. So this can be used as a way to just give a little extra punch to still images or video or anything that appears as a result of a cue in Watchout by just changing the saturation. And being a tween track, this can of course also change over time. While hue and saturation parameters can be used in this way to make minor changes to an image, you can also use these parameters to do more drastic changes and to entirely change the color of an image. Let's add another couple of cues over here. We have this image that we used in an earlier episode of a square, and then we have an overlay that picks up some of these triangles and colorizes them. Let's say we like the look of this one, but we would like to change the color of the overlay here from the kind of purplish that we have here to a totally different color. Again, we can do that with a hue and saturation tween track, and we would go in and just change the hue by adding a hue point and say that anything that is red would instead map to green. Since the color we started out with here was close to red, if we just drag this down to about here, we can end up with a totally different color. So we can make the triangles green instead of the original color, or pretty much any color that we may want them to have. I kind of like this dark blue color here. So that's another use of hue saturation, essentially remapping a set of colors to a different set of colors. Now, these kinds of drastic changes can also be changed over time, since the hue is controlled by a tween track. Let's bring in another image that has kind of a rainbow-like effect onto the timeline. This image up here, which shows this kind of flower-like structure, and I just move it over to the center, and it has kind of a rainbowish look to it around the image in this way. And if we want to make the colors in this image cycle through as we run the timeline, we can again do that with a hue and saturation by setting a tween point here, and then a bit down here we could set another tween point, and we can make that rotate the image. If we want to, we can just keep dragging this upwards to make it rotate several revolutions. Or you can, of course, go in and double click here and say that we want it to spin 5 times around the color wheel during this amount of time. So now if we go back to this point and we run it, you can see how it cycles through the colors, essentially spins the color wheel around 5 times, which makes for kind of a nice animated effect with this kind of image.